On the verge of a weekend affair with my husband's friend, I can't help but feel exhilaration mixed with guilt. Your turn, he texts, and I can't resist sending provocative photos. As I get closer to crossing the line, I ponder, can I show you? What am I thinking? I am aware that this situation is inappropriate, and I recognize that I should put an end to it, but I truly doubt my ability to do so or even my desire to, if I am being completely honest. I am a 34-year-old mother of three, married to a good man whom I love. However, I have embarked on a path from which I fear I may not be able to turn back. I feel the need to confide in someone, yet I obviously cannot disclose this to my friends, particularly because the person with whom I am contemplating cheating is my husband's friend, and it all began with an accidental text message. Background: my husband and I welcomed our third child last year, and I admit I struggled to rediscover my identity afterward. My body changed shape, and I felt like a stranger to myself. My husband insisted that he still found me attractive, and we do have sex on a semi-regular basis, but it continues to be challenging. As Christmas approached, I returned to the gym and dedicated significant effort to my fitness, which yielded results. While I did not achieve my teenage figure, I managed to trim my belly a bit and my backside gained some tone. It is still a long journey, but I am making progress. So when my husband's parents celebrated their 40th anniversary, I was thrilled that they planned a grand party at a hotel a couple of hours away. It was an opportunity to dress up and feel glamorous. I ordered several dresses online, but one in particular made me feel fantastic. It was a fitted black mesh dress that accentuated my breasts and enhanced my rear. My husband was quite enthusiastic about it, and I put effort into my hair and makeup, which drew compliments and significantly boosted my confidence. At one point during the evening, I went upstairs to help put the kids to bed, and on my way back, I took a few pictures of myself in the elevator mirror. The images were nothing risque, just me in the dress. One shot caught me smirking, feeling good and slightly tipsy, and another showed my profile, highlighting my shape. I shared a couple of them with my friend Danielle before continuing to enjoy the festivities. The next morning, my husband took the kids to the swimming pool and told me to relax in bed. After about 30 minutes, I checked my phone and was shocked to find a message from my husband's friend Dan. "Oh, thanks." I unlocked my phone and quickly realized I had sent him the pictures of myself. "Oh God, I am so sorry, I will delete them. I don't want Ellen, his wife, getting the wrong idea." He immediately replied, "No, you're fine, please don't do that, they are nice pictures." I found myself blushing. "Oh, thank you." "No problems, you look really good. Pete is a lucky guy." We typically do not communicate outside of social gatherings, which made it challenging to discern whether this was flirting or just a compliment, so I decided to keep my tone casual. "I can assure you I don't look like that now, and Pete has the kids in the pool, not so lucky." My phone buzzed almost immediately. "All alone in a hotel room after wearing that dress, that is unfortunate." Okay, he was definitely flirting with me. The phone buzzed again. "And I'm sure that no matter how you look, anyone fortunate enough to spend the night in the hotel with you wouldn't complain." What? He wasn't merely flirting, he was outright coming on to me at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning. More importantly, why did I find it appealing? I told him I needed to get dressed, to which he responded, "That is a shame." As I concluded the conversation, I noticed he had reacted with heart emojis to the pictures I had sent. I stepped into the shower, my arousal ignited, and immediately began to touch myself, but I was interrupted by a knock at the room door. On the way home, feeling daring, I texted him again. He informed me that he was home alone, and when I asked what he was planning to do, he replied that he needed company for what he really desired. That evening, once the children were asleep, I jumped my husband like a wild animal and had him make love to me on the couch, the messages from Dan racing through my mind. Throughout that week, we exchanged messages sporadically. They were somewhat flirtatious, but nothing that truly crossed any lines. I still could not shake off how exhilarating it felt to receive attention. Additionally, since we are both married, what harm could a little lighthearted fun do, right? I did not realize that our mutual friend was about to celebrate his 40th birthday, which meant a party at his home the following weekend. This inspired an idea in me. On that Saturday, as I prepared for the occasion, I couldn't stop thinking about how bold I was being as I slipped on the same dress I had worn 2 weeks prior. I wanted Dan to see it in person. Although I would be slightly overdressed, I didn't care. Upon arriving and removing my coat, I could see that my plan had succeeded. His eyes nearly popped out of his head. As I greeted him and embraced him, I could feel his hands struggling to resist the urge to grab me. All night we exchanged glances and devised subtle ways to get close to each other. The playful nature of it all no longer felt harmless. I was absolutely on fire. Each time he touched me, I nearly jumped. When I caught him glancing down my dress, I bent forward to grant him a better view. After we returned home, my husband, having drunk too much, was in bed when my phone beeped. "What, no pictures this time?" I responded with a group photo of myself and the wives of our mutual friends, including his. "Nothing more recent." Okay, this was a boundary, if there was any to begin with. "Where is Ellen?" "In bed, Pete." "The same." I caught my breath and took some selfies, ensuring my dress was low cut. I hit send. "Incredible, unbelievably sexy." Those words made me realize that I wasn't just enjoying the thrill. I wasn't merely seeking a boost to my ego. I wanted him. "Your turn," I replied. A minute later, I received a picture. It was him wearing only his underwear. His body looked fantastic, broader and more toned than I had anticipated, his erection strained against his underpants. "Your turn," he insisted. "I don't send those kinds of pictures, even to Pete." "Yeah, but I am different. It's your turn." I went to the bathroom and removed the dress and shapewear, leaving on my heels. I snapped several photos of myself in my underwear and sent them, expecting him to notice my imperfections and lose interest. Yet he responded immediately. "Jesus, you are unreal. May I say I wanted to kiss you badly tonight?" "You can." I felt myself getting more aroused and slipped my hand inside my underwear. "Can I tell you that I wanted to find somewhere quiet and demonstrate just how much I appreciate that dress on you?" "You absolutely can." "Can I show you?" "Yes, please." Suddenly, a video call alert appeared. It was him. I answered to find him smirking and placing a finger to his lips to quiet me. Then the camera panned down to his engorged penis as he stroked it until he climaxed, and the call ended. "Can I see you on Friday?" "Maybe." Story 2. She shattered my heart on New Year's Eve while I waited to celebrate our love, choosing another man over my support. After betrayal and months of emotional neglect, she wants therapy to lessen her guilt. How could someone so cold claim to care? I never thought I would be writing this, but I need to express my feelings. I was in a 4-year relationship with a woman I once admired, not for her appearance, which to be honest did not initially attract me, but for the connection I believed we shared, for the promises she made, and for the future we envisioned together. I gradually fell for her, convinced that what we were creating was genuine. And when I entrusted her with my heart, I never anticipated that she would shatter it so brutally. We met, developed feelings for each other, and in the first year of our relationship, we cohabited. I was preparing to leave for my master's degree abroad, but I made it clear from the very beginning that I was not interested in a casual relationship. I was committed to a long-term future, and I was prepared to put in the effort to maintain a long-distance relationship. She agreed. The only thing she ever requested of me was that I visit her frequently. I understood that it was a reasonable request coming from a live-in relationship. However, my reality was difficult. I was pursuing a highly demanding degree abroad, balancing a full-time student workload with a part-time research position and dealing with the challenges of living as an expatriate. Despite all of this, I visited her as often as I could, but it was never sufficient for her. She failed to acknowledge or appreciate the effort I invested. It was as if no matter how much I did, she had already decided it was inadequate. I had to make choices. I was working toward my future not only for myself but for us. I wanted to become independent, to reach a position where I could respectfully meet her parents, where we could build a good life together. She should have understood this. She was a student as well, a medical student. She understood the demands and sacrifices that needed to be made. But instead of recognizing my efforts and supporting me, she chose to prioritize herself and then chose someone else. The timing of it all only adds to the pain. This infidelity occurred on New Year's Eve. I was alone in a foreign country, waiting for her to call me so we could celebrate in whatever way possible from a distance. I had decided not to make plans with my friends here because I wanted to prioritize the relationship. I didn't want to do anything without her. And what did she do? She kissed another man that night. That was not an accident, that was not a moment of weakness, that was a choice. When I confronted her about her betrayal and decided to end things, her first reaction was to suggest opening the relationship. The extent to which this person could speak just to evade any sort of accountability is bizarre to me. Then, just a few days before my birthday, she slept with the same guy. That was my birthday gift from her, the news that she had given her body to someone else. The body she once claimed was only for me, the body with which she had made sacred promises. These promises were not solely verbal. She had taken me to our sacred places, locations that our families regard as significant, and made commitments about our future together. She involved both our families in our relationship. Her family approved of me, they were aware of me, and they anticipated meeting me as a potential husband. She further solidified her commitment by giving me her grandmother's ring, a family heirloom, as a promise ring. This was not just any piece of jewelry. It was a symbol of our future, a manifestation of trust and loyalty, carrying the weight of generations from her family. Yet despite all of this, she still chose to betray me in the most humiliating manner. Initially, she only confessed to kissing the guy. The next morning, she called me crying, acting confused, barely acknowledging what she had done. When I confronted her and told her I was finished, she did not attempt to mend things. Instead, she proceeded to sleep with him. And here is the kicker. While she was in bed with him, she called out my name, and she confessed this to me on my birthday. She was actively betraying me, yet her mind was still on me. If that is not proof of how lost, confused, and troubled she was, I do not know what is. Then, after all of that, after betraying me in the most humiliating fashion, she suddenly realized maybe I am not over my ex-boyfriend yet. So she returned, suggesting couples therapy. Not because she genuinely wanted to fix what was broken, but because she needed to alleviate her guilt. She sought a way to convince herself that she was not the villain in this scenario. And her friends, they blindly defended her. None of them told her she was wrong. None of them called her out. Instead, they focused on me, claiming that referring to her actions as inappropriate was excessive, completely disregarding the actual betrayal she committed. Her own parents barely reacted. Her father merely stated, "Good guys are rare to find." Her mother, no significant reaction. She faced zero consequences from those around her. Meanwhile, I was the one left shattered, humiliated, trying to comprehend how the person I loved could do this to me. And then there is the ultimate irony. This is a woman who cried over a fictional dog dying in a dog's purpose years ago. But when my real-life dog, the one who had saved me, the one I loved more than anything, passed away, she exhibited no empathy. Her only response: "I am working in a morgue, I witness death every day, it does not affect me anymore." Then she went out partying almost every day throughout the week when my dog died. She never truly cared about my pain, she was never really present for me. During the last 6 months of our relationship, I felt like I was stranded, isolated, and emotionally neglected. Reflecting back, I realized that was because she had already disengaged. But here is what makes all of this even worse. I was already struggling with severe depression when she did this to me. My mental health had severely deteriorated. I had informed her of this. I had been transparent about my struggles, and she, as a medical professional, should have demonstrated at least some basic human compassion. But she did not. She was cold, distant, and unavailable. She chose to betray me instead of being there for me when I needed her most. I even provided her an option. Long before my dog passed away, as my depression worsened, I told her that if she felt she could not handle being with someone experiencing this, I would understand. I would not judge her if she walked away. I communicated this to her multiple times. But she chose to remain. Instead of being there for me or making any effort at all, she just stayed, until she found someone else to sleep with. I do not really understand why I even allowed this to happen to me. I do not know if people like her ever find happiness. A part of me wishes her healing and peace because I want to be the bigger person. But another part of me, the hurt, raw, betrayed part, wants her to suffer, to feel just a fraction of the pain she has inflicted on me, to understand too late that she discarded something real. I am writing this because I need to release it. And if anyone has ever undergone something similar, I need to know, how do you move past a betrayal like this? How do you reclaim your self-worth when someone you trusted has trampled all over it? Because right now, it feels like I will never be able to view love in the same light again. Summary: I am dealing with clinical depression, the loss of a family pet, and a cheating partner all at once. I need advice on how to rebuild my self-esteem and get my life back on track. Story 3. After my husband, 47M, cheated on me with a family friend, I begged him to come back, but he chose her. "I made a horrible mistake," he later claimed, "but I still wake up crying from nightmares about it. How can I heal when memories haunt me?" My husband, 47 years old, and I, 43 years old, have been together for over 20 years. At the beginning of our relationship, we faced numerous issues, including constant arguing and bickering, treating each other poorly, and generally being quite toxic with one another. This all came to a climax in 2009 around Christmas, when I failed to enter our daughter's name into a charity for gifts. We argued about it because we had almost nothing to place under the tree that year, which would have made for a miserable holiday. The dispute escalated so much, particularly over the phone, that he commanded me to pack his belongings because he was leaving me. I was so furious with him that I concluded this needed to happen, and I threw his clothes into a bag, leaving it ready for him when he returned home. He left to stay with his aunt and her children while I remained in our home with our daughter. It is worth noting that this daughter is not his. She is mine from a previous relationship. I was unaware of some details at the time, but his aunt had a friend who had a layover in our city for about 24 hours. Before everything unfolded, the aunt and the girl visited our house to pick up my husband. Since I had heard much about her, I introduced myself and gave her a hug. I usually do not engage in physical contact, but I was attempting to be friendly. My husband went with them and apparently they connected well. This occurred just before Christmas. So when we separated and he went to his aunt's house, it was because he was becoming involved with that girl. For several months, we oscillated between fighting, seeing each other, and fighting again. I was extremely distressed and wanted my husband back, but he was too angry with me for being so difficult to get along with. He was equally hard to deal with, yet he was entirely inflexible and refused to return home. I recall an instance when he stopped by the house briefly to grab something and talk. I actually got down on my knees and pleaded with him to come home. He declined and insisted that I stop behaving that way. I felt tremendously embarrassed by my actions, but I truly thought he might reconsider. Then I discovered that he had been sleeping with that girl. She returned to our town intermittently for several months and then he decided to travel to where she lived as well. Unexpectedly, he ended the relationship with her and chose to come back to me. We went through some fights again, but things remained tense and awkward. I believed we were managing to work through our issues until one night I awoke to find the light on and the computer screen displaying an open email. My husband was nowhere in sight. I got up to sit at the computer and saw the email address was missing her name whatever com. I was crushed to find that out. Then I heard him outside on the porch. It was 3 a.m. and he was on the phone with her. Once again, he left me and I was simply too exhausted to continue fighting it. My grandmother passed away that April and I was close to her. My husband and I took care of her at the end of her life. I called him to inform him of her death and he appeared completely unaffected. The girl was on the line advising him that he should not be troubled by it and we quickly ended the call. I was genuinely upset, but I managed all the arrangements on my own and began to move forward with my life. I decided to renovate the house, so during the nights when I could not sleep, I either painted or completed various chores. I maintained a friendly relationship with his aunt, even though it was her terrible friend who took my husband and she encouraged me to date. I agreed to go out with a man she knew and he was quite interested in me, which improved my mood. Then one night I received a message indicating that my husband was attempting to reach me. I had blocked him on all platforms but chose to allow him to contact me via a new account. He claimed that he woke up suddenly and found himself in the same city as her, where he had been for a couple of weeks, and he realized he had made a grave mistake. He wanted to return home for good and leave her behind. I firmly told him no, explaining that I had moved on and no longer desired him. He pleaded repeatedly, but I refused to relent. He stated that he was on his way to the airport, he had a ticket, and he would walk to our house if I was unwilling to pick him up. I told him to leave me alone as I had a date that night and was indifferent to whether he returned. Ultimately, I did pick him up, but I was still angry. He swore to make amends, insisting that we would work things out. Initially, I was indifferent, but he genuinely made an effort. We rekindled our relationship within a few weeks and he successfully distanced himself from the other girl. In less than 6 months, we were in a stable place and actually became pregnant. Almost a year to the day after he left, we received the news. He treated me so well afterward, as it always should have been. We welcomed our baby and never heard from that girl again. Now here lies my dilemma. I still cannot move past it. Occasionally, particularly last night, I experience nightmares of him with another girl. In the dreams, he tells me we can no longer be together and to leave him alone. Sometimes the dreams are brief and I try to dismiss them without informing him, but last night I had 3 or 4 dreams of this nature. He awoke me this morning having heard me crying. I wake up feeling confused, hurt, and angry with him. Each time it feels real. He is so different from who he was during that time, and we have genuinely resolved our issues. We do not even argue anymore. We love each other deeply, yet I am haunted by these lingering feelings of resentment that refuse to vanish. I recently mentioned to him that I still grapple with emotions regarding those past experiences, and he stated there is nothing he can do about it now. It is a me problem, apparently. I do trust him around other women, that is not my concern. I fear that this wound will never heal, that I was betrayed and made to feel foolish, that it could easily resurface, and others knew, specifically his aunt, my brother and his wife, and even his aunt's children saw them engage in sexual acts such as kissing. I was heartlessly cast aside for someone else. What if she returns? Would he still feel the same? It is too painful to even discuss. I am unsure what I expect to achieve from this post. I recognize that therapy is the only true path to working through these emotions. I simply wish I could confront that girl face to face and express how deeply this affected me, but I also do not want to give her the satisfaction of knowing. It is all so troubling. I refuse to vacation in the city where they went. It is in our state and a popular vacation spot, and her name is the same as a continent, so I am constantly reminded and upset whenever I hear it. It feels so trivial, and I wish it would simply disappear. I acknowledge this was lengthy. Thank you for listening. Summary, my husband cheated on me with a friend of his family, and it continues to trouble me all these years later, despite the fact that our relationship improved and the infidelity has not occurred again.